What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got some Destiny 2 new stuff to talk about. We've got even more information about the Forsaken DLC, which will be coming to Destiny 2 in September of this year. So we have a breakdown of all of the content, the release date, information about the annual pass, the pricing for some of that. On top of this, we have more information about some of the additional supers that we'll be seeing in the game. There will actually be 9 of these. There are other pre-order bonuses to talk about. It's looking like Petra is going to return. I'm going to point out some stuff about exotics and weapon slot changes, a few other things as well, so let's jump straight into it. So first up, Luke Smith tweeted out for the first time in a little while, Destiny 2 Forsaken this fall, weapon slots play your way, e.g. D1 style, D2 style, or nutty 3 shotgun type stuff, random rolls on weapons, bows and arrows, collections, triumphs and titles, think achievements, Gambit 4v4, PvPvE, endgame destination, new subclasses, and more. So that's actually pretty interesting. Luke Smith refers to brand new subclasses, not just new supers. So while you do have the new super options, these will actually be broken down into new subclass versions, and it's finally going to be filled out with essentially variants of different supers. And in one of the bullet points on Destiny the Game's website, it does say wield new powers with 9 additional supers. So of course we have seen a bunch of these, but knowing that we're going to get 9 different variants is pretty exciting. Hopefully Bungie will rework some of the kind of selections and how these actually work in the game. Of course we want more variety, more possibility and customization, and so I'd imagine this is certainly going to provide some of that. But here we have the official description. With 2 brand new destinations to explore, new weapons, armor and supers to acquire, Forsaken takes players on an epic journey into the wild frontiers of our solar system where the lines between justice and revenge are blurred. Forsaken also features an all-new competitive and collaborative endgame activity called Gambit, a first of its kind for Destiny. Gambit is a new hybrid 4v4 mode that merges PvE and PvP experiences into an epic battle. This entirely new way to play Destiny 2 offers something for all types of gamers to enjoy, appealing to those who thrive in competitive challenges, while seamlessly blending the collaborative and unpredictable elements of PvE. This new mode will be playable at the 2018 E3 Expo. I'll actually be at E3 this year, guys, so I should be able to bring you some juicy new information about that stuff. But on the list we have hunt down the 8 Barons and their crew. There will be 2 new destinations, the Tangled Shore and the Dreaming City. Of course, Tangled Shore is the area on the reef. Dreaming City is the Awoken homeworld, and this will actually be a new endgame space housing both raids and other pursuits. Of course, the brand new raid, Gambit, the 4v4 mode. They talk about collecting new exotic weapons, armor and gear, the new weapon archetype, the legendary bow. And if we actually look at this screen right here where we can see the characters equipping some of the gear, we do of course see the Twin Rabbit, the new rocket launcher. It can shoot 2 tracking rockets, 1 void and 1 solar. The void rocket will be a suppression rocket and the solar one will cause damage over time. So that's going to be pretty interesting. You can also see that this is a Dato weapon, so this is a new foundry weapon. There's also a new exotic sword there, which looks pretty interesting. What I believe is a new exotic auto rifle that we can see in this slot. Of course, we can also see some legendary weapons. And then finally, for a brief second, we see a new exotic hand cannon right there. Another thing you'll notice in terms of the weapon slots, it does appear that these actually have designated slots. So you can see the Twin Rabbit has kind of 3 rounds in an icon on it right there in the power slot. The weapons in the energy slot actually have 2 rounds with a green icon, and then we have the kinetic with 1 round with a white icon. So it looks like weapons will actually be in these pre-designed slots, but there will be various different archetypes actually able to go into that slot. Or it's entirely possible as well that it could be a way to actually turn a weapon into another slot or change the kind of categorization of it somehow. But of course, this is stuff that we have to wait for a few more details on yet. Now though, I wanted to point out briefly some of the armor perks that we can see inside of some of the footage. So on this bond right here, we can see 2 bonuses. While in the Dreaming City, you deal more damage to all targets. Then we have another one here. While in the Dreaming City, you take more damage from all sources. They actually misspelled from right there. Of course, this is just early development stuff. On that subject, of course, these could change. These might not be finished perks yet. Having one where you deal more damage and then one where you take more damage is kind of interesting. But they've also referred several times to the new random random rolls that we'll be seeing on weapons. I'm so glad that armor is actually going to have perks on it. One of the concerns I had is that they'd kind of work on the mod system and then armor wouldn't necessarily have intrinsic perks, but seeing that on the armor and then presumably stats still and everything like that, that is pretty exciting. And especially for rerunning raids, rerunning activities for pieces of gear, there is some potential to make that more interesting as well. So that of course is definitely positive to see. On top of this though, there is of course the new annual pass. Right now I can't actually see the price for the annual pass itself, but you can get Destiny 2 Forsaken, and this is the digital deluxe edition which comes with the annual pass, and that is £69 in the UK. And on the PlayStation Store it is listed at $69.99 US for Forsaken and the annual pass. They don't have the individual price for the annual pass just yet, but the annual pass will include 4 different updates that will happen over the year after Forsaken goes live. These are going to be kind of miniature DLC content type drops, but they will be much smaller than the typical DLCs, but much more regular. So I'll be curious to hear what you guys think about the pricing and everything like that. But the digital deluxe edition will come with the Awoken Legends set, and this comes with a ghost shell right there. We also have a new bow ornament, and that's going to be for an existing bow in the game, and you get the emblem as well. If you pre-order though, you get the Cade's exotic stash right here, and this will come with a new ship. This is the Queen of Hearts exotic ship. We've got the Ace of Spades hand cannon ornament right here, which is pretty cool, and obviously that confirms the Ace of Spades is indeed returning. There is an armor set and an emote as well. So let me know what you guys think about that. As always, we do get those pre-order bonuses and things like that too. Something else interesting to point out here though, of course, we have seen different characters in the cinematics so far, but in the Bungie vidoc, on one of the dev's screen right here, you can actually see Petra Venge, and she's also with, I believe, Zavala in the background. Obviously, this is a work in progress, these aren't finished models, but definitely Petra Venge right there. You can also compare the armor to Petra, so it looks like Petra will indeed be a returning character inside of this DLC, which of course could give us some explanations, some information, and a link to the Queen and the Queen's brother, the Awoken in general, which is what we anticipate will actually feature in this story, at least to some degree. So that's pretty cool and worth pointing out. On top of the other stuff we've seen, Activision released some press images here. So you can see this enemy right here. I believe this is a member of the new faction, the Scorn. They kind of look like a mix of different enemy types, definitely some Fallen in there, but then they have this unique armor and kind of theme to them. You can also see a bunch of different minions in the background as well. Then we see a Titan rocking new armor and one of the new bows. Pretty ornate, cool looking bow weapon right there, so this actually could be an exotic of course. You do have the Warlock in the background with some new gear, which looks like it could come from the Gambit game mode. We did see some different Guardians wearing that gear during the gameplay, I believe. Get a nice screenshot here of the reef and some of the new space, what it's going to look like. The aesthetic, of course, carries over from D1. Definitely a really cool looking space though. And then here we can see the Gambit game mode. You see this hunter with cool new armor and a weapon. Also, this sword on their back is pretty interesting. That looks like it could potentially be a new exotic sword. Very, very ornate. And then we see the hunter with some new void knives kind of slashing across. Very much like a blade dancer right here. So obviously this is going to be one of the new variations of supers that we see in this expansion. So lots of cool stuff there to talk about. To give a couple of thoughts on what we've seen so far, obviously it's very early days. I think the new content, the location, the new gear, all of that kind of stuff looks pretty exciting. It definitely looks like some of the most interesting content that we've seen for Destiny 2 so far. But on the subject of the end game fixes and the changes there, obviously those are really important. I really want to know more about the random weapon roll system and what they're doing with mods and the armor bonuses. I feel like that's a very big deal, having those attributes to hunt down on pieces of gear. Having the potential to earn something interesting at any time is a big deal for Destiny, and it's been one of the big things missing so far, so to finally see that coming into the game is exciting. Now I'm really just curious as to how Bungie are doing it. Obviously more triumphs, quests and all of those kind of things are great as well. I'm glad that they're combining a new space as an endgame space, so you know you have the raids, but then you also have other pursuits and quests that you complete there. It really feels like Destiny 2 is starting to come together. We'll have to see what E3 brings, we'll have to wait for more information later in the summer, but honestly I think this is the most excited I've been since Destiny 2 released especially. I do however agree we can reserve judgment for a later date. On initial impressions though, I think things are looking good. That's going to summarize the bulk of what I wanted to talk about in this video though, guys. One last thing to mention, of course, in Destiny 2 this week, we do have the weekly reset. Nascent Dawn 5 of 5 has come up. This is part of the Polaris Lance questline. 5 of 5 is actually the step after you get the weapon, and as we anticipated, it is indeed the catalyst that you get for this stage. So Esoteric actually posted a video about this, full credit to him. But at the end of 5 of 5, you do get the Masterwork unlocked, and to actually finish this, you need to defeat enemies in general, but also get kills with the Perfect 5th bonus, and you will need 50 Perfect 5th kills with this, so it'll take a little while. But of course, this will upgrade the weapon to have Dragonfly, which I think is actually going to be a fairly decent upgrade to the weapon. But as always, let me know your thoughts about that down below. I'll keep you guys posted though on any news that we get. Of course, we get this week at Bungie, next week E3, plenty of reveals there. As I mentioned, I will be over at E3, and as we get various reveals, I'll try and keep you guys posted. But if you've enjoyed the video, a like is very much appreciated below. I really appreciate all of the support you've shown me here on the channel, guys, recently. Super excited for this DLC, so let me know your thoughts as I mentioned. Check out my sponsor Into the AM for some awesome clothing, really neat hoodies, shirts, hats, bandanas, accessories, and more. And you can save 10% with code Houndish in the store, so check that out in the description below if you want to. If you're new to the channel though, be sure to hit subscribe to see lots more Destiny 2 content. And for now, I will catch you guys very soon.